Hey yo, what is going on everybody? It's your boy X coming at y'all with a brand new video, and as you guys can see, we're here with another tier list, this one being on the best power forwards in 2K21 Myteam. So if you guys are excited, make sure you guys smash the like button down below, as well as comment your favorite guy to run at the power forward at this current point in time. If I had to tell you guys mine right now, it's probably going to be like Ruby, Jonathan, Isaac, if we're being honest. Maybe Aaron Gordon can sneak in there, but Isaac, he's just too good for Ruby. Also, subscribe if you guys are new. We are on that road to 10K subscribers, slowly moving our way up. So please, if you're new, smash that subscribe button. Really would mean a lot to me. And if you guys do want to check out any of the other positions like the PGs, the shooting guards, and the small forwards, they will all be linked in the description down below. So once you guys check out this tier list, you guys can look at all the other ones to see what's going on. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this one. So, obviously with all these, we just show off the D tier all at once, and here they are. We have Pink Diamond Elton Brand, Amethyst Dennis Rodman, Ruby Davis Bertans, a Diamond Ben Simmons, Pink Diamond Jermaine O'Neal, hate that card, and Diamond Dennis Rodman. So, I mean, you can kind of sense what's going on with a lot of these. Elton Brand is just cheeks, like, just no reason to use them. Both versions of Dennis Rodman this year, pretty terrible. Just what Dennis Rodman does, it's just not valuable right now in 2K, especially when you don't like give the dude clamps. Like, come on, what's up with that? Davis Bertans, just kind of a shooter. There's so many other cards you can come on that can spray the 3-ball with gold range, or even just silver, but still do other things on the court. He literally just shoots. Ben Simmons, this Diamond Ben Simmons is just terrible, man. No midi even, just a really good defender and good playmaker, and he can slash pretty good as well. If you're going to pick up a Ben Simmons card, pick with the pink diamond, run him at the 4 if you want to. Jermaine O'Neal, trash. Don't even want to talk about it, and we already talked about Dennis. So, now let's start into the seats here, now that we got the booty guys out of the way. And we're starting off with the Diamond Anthony Davis. Diamond AD, I mean, he's cool. Obviously, Davis has, like, good animations. He's got a great player build, and just a lot of things going his way. But I'm just strong of the opinion of why would you use a lot of these cards. I feel like they're all good, but I don't really see too much reason to throw them on your team. There's just way too many silver and bronze badges only on the cards. Their stats look okay, actually. But, you know, when you don't have the badges to back it up, the stats can only get you, so far. Next up is Amethyst John Collins, a card that offensively, an absolute demon. Like, offensively, with the Kobe Bryant jump shot base, it is beautiful to have this John Collins on your team. And he's even a pretty solid slasher as well, which is pretty solid. Also has Hall of Fame Showtime, which I know on current gen is beautiful. It's like one of those must-have badges at this point. Not really on next gen, but his defense is just so bad. Like, it is so bad, and he's undersized at the 4 as well. So if you wanted to run him, not undersized at the 4, undersized at the center. So even if you wanted to run him at his, backup, it's just not worth it, man. Just the defense is so bad. I really just don't see a reason to use John Collins. Giannis is the same reason as Anthony Davis. There's just decent stats, but really don't have the badges to back it up. And in the case of Giannis, he really doesn't even have that great of a midi. It's like a 71, I think. So you really can't even be a threat from the mid-range with this Giannis. He's basically just like a defender and a slasher to the paint. And there's a lot better that we can get for that. But I wouldn't put him down to D tier just because Giannis can be like extremely cheesy. Next up, we do have Pink Diamond Dirk Nowitzki, a card that some people kind of like, and I can't wrap my head around possibly why, because I think this Dirk is it's bad. I really don't like this Dirk at all. Really, the jumper is just a little bit slow. He's slow with a 65 speed. Like, yeah, he has Hall of Fame deep threes and range, and Hall of Fame sniper and catch and shoot. But same story as John Collins. The defense is just terrible. He doesn't even have a high block. He has a pretty low interior defense on top of being slow. He's kind of just in there to be a shooter, and I feel like there's a lot of guys that are stretch bigs that can just do what he can do better, especially at the power forward position. And he's okay as a center, but as a power forward, I'm surprised I didn't even put him down to D tier, because Dirk can be okay because of that Hall of Fame range, but again, the jumper is like, nah, so why would you? Next up is Pink Diamond Bob Pettit, a card that I had a tough time ranking between B and C tier. If you wanted to throw him at either, I really honestly wouldn't be that mad at you about it, because I could see both reasons for it. Like, Bob Pettit can be a good card because obviously he comes with Hall of Fame range and catch and shoot and deep threes and set shooter, which is great. He's a good finisher, a good post guy, but he just doesn't come with any sort of defensive badge or playmaking badge. You can add any badge you would want to besides, I think, like teardropper, which is really random if you think about it, like teardropper of all badges. But there's just way too many badges I think that you have to add to him to really get him to that next level status, and that's why I put him down in the C tier. But I do think that if you did do it, maybe you could sneak him into B tier, but because, you know, Set Shot 14 is a pretty good jumper, but for the most part, I don't see a reason in which you would go ahead and like use many of these cards unless like you had to because you got them for free out of the pack. Next up is the Pink Diamond, or Amethyst, sorry, Blake Griffin that we did get very recently in the most recent Flash set, which is cool. But again, I don't see a lot of reason to use Blake just because, I mean, for the most part, a lot of us have the Pink Diamond grinding out, and if you don't, you're not really missing out on too much when it comes to this Amethyst Blake when it comes to like a downgrade, you know? Like, the finishing is obviously going to be great. Like, you expect that with a Blake Griffin card. You're going to get a guy who's going to get down into the paint and dunk on everybody and is pretty quick for his height. But actually, this Amethyst Blake isn't that fast. He does have a good 3 and a good midi, which is solid with some pretty good shooting badges, albeit not the most amazing. And he has some solid defensive badges, but really not ones that I would say I want. Like, you can't get, you know, Interceptor, Intimidator, or even like Clamps, to be honest, to get up and really be like that killer. So again, I feel like it's another case of like being a pretty good offensive card, like John Collins, but just can't really defend too well, although I definitely probably would pick up Blake before I pick up Collins. Next up is Ruby Ursan Ilyasova, a card that I struggled putting places because I feel like he's got the potential to be B, but I think just like straight up as he is, probably a C tier card because Ursan is good. I don't mind the jumper, although I don't love it. Paul Pierce is like a good jumper, but it's not one that I'm gonna jump out and say like, yo, Paul Pierce is a great jumper, you gotta use it. And he's nice because he's basically a power forward center guy that has silver range extender and like gold sniper, which, I mean, how could you not love? But it's another case of like, I don't really love the defense. I have to boost it a bit. The finishing's not gonna be too good, and I do feel like he's a little bit slow. For limited, if like rubies are capped off as like the cards you can use, I think Ursan Ilyasova is a great pickup to maybe run as like a stretch 5, just to like spread out the floor. But in general, I don't really see a lot of reason to use them. And last but not least is Diamond Karl Malone, a card that traditionally Karl Malone cards are actually pretty slept on and pretty undervalued with how good they actually are. But with this Diamond and even the Amethyst Karl Malone, I don't really see a lot of use in them. He has got great finishing and great post game, a pretty decent shooting ability, but they gave him some really good stats when it comes to defense as well as kind of playmaking, but then they really just didn't give him the badges to like back it up. Like, he has box, intimidator, and rebound chaser, which is cool, but that's really kind of where we end up with all the defensive badges. When you have great defense, but then you have to add more badges, like a pogo stick, like, you know, an interceptor, heart crusher, things like that on your center, it's not great. Or your power forward, you also have to add like a quick first step at this point because most centers are kind of getting it. Ankle braces, things like that. There was way too many badges to add to Karl Malone to really just get him to that next level, and it's just not worth it at this point in time. When you can pick up a guy to play the power forward, like Jonathan Isaac, who's actually a small forward, you can pick up Isaac, run him at the 4, and he can do everything Karl Malone can do, but better. So there's no real reason. Starting off the B tier, we do have Diamond Tim Duncan, a bit of a shout, but Timmy D at the 4, let's be honest, you're probably never going to run him at the 4. If you're running Tim Duncan, you probably have him in at your center position, so that's kind of why he's lower rated already. At the power forward, yeah, you're not running Tim Duncan. He's a good card, but you're just not running him there. And at this point in time, I think a card that you have to add some deep threes to and things like that, it's not great. He's also severely outsped at this point in the year. Like, there's just so many guards that are coming out now that have just a lot faster speed with just as good shooting ability, just as good interior defense, that it's a little bit tough. Like, we just got Dino Raja and Hakeem to play the center that are obviously both better than Tim Duncan when it comes to that aspect. We also just got Porzingis and DeAndre Ayton. So I like Tim Duncan, but as a power forward, even as a center, I think he's kind of getting a little bit outdated at this point. Next up is Amethyst Shawn Kemp, a budget beast, a guy that comes in and offensively is kind of just there to score, but does it so well that I really don't mind it. Also, he's just so athletic that he actually has been able to snag some rebounds against cards that I wouldn't expect him to. Plus, I understand on current gen, he has Hall of Fame Showtime, and everybody loves that Hall of Fame Showtime on current gen, and it really makes this Shawn Kemp like that much better. So I can understand why a lot of people like him. Plus, Jump Shot 23, I've used this Sean Kemp before. It's money, it's great, and he has playmaking badges and finishing badges already, so you kind of just want to add like a catch and shoot onto him for shooting badges, because obviously you're going to be doing a lot of pick and pops, and maybe a few others there, and you'll be looking pretty good. But on defense and rebounding, just know that he's going to be a little bit sus for sure. Next up is Amethyst Robert Covington, a card that I really like because of his just like two-way ability to be like that 3-and-D card that you throw in. Plus, he's a free reward card, so it kind of puts him a little bit higher on my list, just because when you can have a free card like Roko who can just come out and just play amazing for you, I love it. He's got good interior and good perimeter defense, coming with clamps, interceptor, intimidator, pick dodger, pickpocket, tireless defender, trapper, like things like that. I absolutely love it. Even has some solid playmaking, and the shooting is obviously going to be good. I love the jumper on Jump Shot 63. I want to call it my favorite, but at this point, I've kind of got used to it. It's the same one as like a TJ Warren. It's another one of those like, I like it, but I don't love it. So I think I might have said I loved it earlier, so I'm sounding completely contradictory, but you know what I mean. It's a good jumper, but it's not one that I'm going to like jump out of my shoes and tell you how great it is. But slippery off ball as well is a pretty good Hall of Fame badge to have, so if you run this Covington on routes, it can be pretty solid. So the only time I've had struggles with Covington is when there's like a double big lineup, so sometimes that can definitely get out at you. Coming in the B tier is one that is going to be a little bit controversial, and those who don't watch the video all the way through I think are going to have a little bit of a problem with it, but I'll explain why. And it's Diamond Zion Williamson, the glitched version. Now, I think when we're talking about the Zion Williamson as a small forward, still I'm going to put him like A tier. And you could make an argument for S tier at the small forward position, especially on current gen. I understand on current gen, this Zion Williamson is like the second coming of Jesus Christ. Like, he's just amazing. I fully understand why a lot of people love Zion Williamson, but I'm taking into account the fact that we are talking about the power forward position right here, and as a power forward, the Zion Williamson is just not great. Let's be honest. He's 6'6". If I run a double big lineup, or even with somebody like Roko, I can shut down Zion Williamson fairly easy. He's just not going to really do anything in the paint. But on current gen, I know he's amazing. And at small forward, he's amazing. So as a small forward, I'm putting him like A to S tier, like for sure. But when it comes to the power forward position, I think he's good. But there's definitely a long ways up that the Zion Williamson could go. If we're being honest, the only time I really see Zion anymore is in triple threat, where you can kind of use him as a PG. Never in unlimited as the 4. And if he is the 4, I'm usually taking Aaron Gordon down to the post and popping him. So a little tough there. So hopefully that makes sense to some of you guys. Next up, we do have Pink Diamond Bobby Jones, a card that I absolutely love, and I'm doing the XP challenges currently. Well, I'm interrupting them to do for the recording here. But with Bobby Jones, he is the best defender really that I've used. Like interior and perimeter, he just shuts everything down, and that's amazing. It's a card that I picked up immediately off the token market because he's just that good. And he has a pretty solid jump shot as well. A jump shot 4. The longest he lay a package is great. But the one thing that I do want to say is shooting the ball with this Bobby Jones, for some reason, without the Hall of Fame or without badges in general, it hasn't been amazing. So if you badge up fully, you're Bobby Jones and you want to throw him A tier, I can get it. But I've been trying to make these lists less about what you can do when they're badged up and more just about how the card is, because most people don't have the MT to badge it up. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. But if you wanted to badge up Bobby Jones, just like add everything into him in shooting, like I think he kind of needs, yeah, for sure, you could probably put him into the A tier because I mean, Hall of Fame clamps, defensive leader, interceptor, intimidator, pick dodger is amazing. But offensively, I just haven't had this level of consistency with him that I'd want to. Some days he's great, some days he's terrible. So that's just kind of why I threw him into B. It's a little bit too inconsistent for me personally while using him. Next up is Pink Diamond Bob Love, another card that I think is kind of meant to be just like defensive oriented, and he's good because the jumper is nice. But I really don't see anybody using him anymore. He's just kind of like, I guess, faded away because he was, you know, an ascension reward, so he really wasn't that common anyway. But I saw a lot more of him during Season 2 and towards the beginning of Season 3 than I have since. And it's just because he's a good defensive guy, but lacks the same problems that Bobby Jones does. He's basically just like a slightly worse version of Bobby Jones, really. Next up is Diamond Juwan Howard, who in my opinion is basically just like a Hito Turkoglu with like insane athleticism, and that is a W if you've ever seen one. This Juwan Howard is beautiful. The jumper is the LaMarcus Aldridge jumper, so for some people that might not be amazing, but I've got used to it on Juwan Howard and on Hito, and it's amazing. The Juwan Howard dunks and everybody, he is an insane slasher because at 6'9", then having, you know, fearless finisher, heat seeker, posterizer, acrobat, it's insane. Quality shooter, like we said, has quick for stepping downhill, comes with clamps, comes with intimidator, comes with pick dodger. He's just great all around. I love him. He can just do everything that I need. Juwan Howard is a beast, and in my opinion, is one of those guys that is super slept on as a triple threat card because you can run him as that like 5, can kind of guard the big centers, and can guard, you know, those small forwards that they're running. Absolutely love Juwan Howard. He's a beast, man. Next up is Jerry Lucas, another card that I feel like has potential if you badge him up. It's a hit or miss one, and this kind of Jerry Lucas card, when I used him, I liked him, but then didn't like him at the same time. It's weird, man. I have this like up and down love-hate relationship with Jerry Lucas. I think I'm kind of just throwing him in the B tier because I think he's kind of just like middle of the pack. He's good, but not great. Didn't think he was as bad as the guys in C tier. Didn't think he was as good as the guys in A tier. So it's kind of just like B tier is where he went. He's a great shooter. The Ray Allen jump shot base is amazing, and he really kind of kills it with that, and is also a pretty good post guy, but on defense, it's a little hit or miss. So I don't know, be that as it may. And again, if you badge him up, probably could make it into the A tier, but I don't know. I have a weird relationship with this Jerry Lucas card, man. Next up is going to be Serge Ibaka. Again, non-badged up Serge. Probably a solid B tier card, especially with the power forward. You can run that nice little double big lineup, and Serge is going to be able to stretch the floor for you, dunk at everybody, and still play some pretty solid defense because he's so long and just amazing. And then you badge him up, you can add some crazy shooting badges, some more, and some better defensive badges to really capitalize on that. And then Serge can be like an insane A tier card if you wanted to. And he's still just one of those limited guys that I think at the center position is amazing. And even as a power forward, not too bad. And last but not least is going to be Boris Diaw. Another card that's kind of been hit with the... It's getting a little old in the life cycle card, which sucks because, you know, Serge is amazing. And he's just one of those cards that I think I've loved since the beginning of the year, and I have a soft spot in my heart for it. And still, if you picked up a badged up version again, is going to be amazing. And you could even argue a badged up Serge Boris could be an A tier card, but I think as is, solid at the B tier is pretty good because he can kind of guard the big guys, can kind of guard the perimeter guys. He's just mid tier for me. Next up, we are starting off at the A tier where we do have Pink Diamond Anthony Davis, a card that I just was looking at and I didn't think was at the level of everybody in S tier. Plus, if you think about the fact that Galaxy Opal Anthony Davis is going to be in the S tier, obviously I have to move the Pink Diamond, who is definitely a step downward, down a tier. So 80 went into the A tier. He's a good power forward, but definitely a better center. We can all agree on that. Next up is Pink Diamond Aaron Gordon, another card that I absolutely love because he's a great defender, a pretty solid shooter actually. The Aaron Gordon jump shot, not bad, but I'm telling you guys, when you actually use this Aaron Gordon card, he does not dunk and finish in the paint as much as he should, and it is the most frustrating thing you could use with the card. If anybody has the same experience, let me know down in the comments, but I have not been able to get this Aaron Gordon to dunk even as much as like a card like Blake Griffin does, or even Zion. Like, just does not dunk as well as he should, but he's just such a good shooter, playmaker, and defender that I feel like it kind of makes up for that, but it is frustrating to go against that. And then next up, we do have Pink Diamond Jason Tatum, a card that I think is great at the 4 and the 3, just because, I mean, it's Tatum. I don't mind the jumper. I know some people kind of hate it, but I actually don't mind it. I think it's a pretty solid jumper. And then on top of that, he has amazing finishing. Obviously, coming with deep threes is great, and he's an amazing defender, coming with Hall of Fame Intimidator. Like, he's just a great card overall, just a little bit underutilized. And the only thing that I have a negative with him on is the fact that his tendencies aren't amazing on defense. Other than that, everything else about this Tatum card is amazing. Next up is Diamond Thurl Bailey, who I've heard on current gen does not actually have the Curry slide, which is interesting. So the animations for his size up escape is a little bit different than what you would be getting if you're on current gen. And for those people that are affected on it, I'm sorry. I feel for you. It is tough because you're missing out big on how great this card could be. But if you're not one of those people and you're playing on next gen, this Thurl Bailey is amazing. He has jump shot 22, which is a money jump shot. It is beautiful and I absolutely love it. It's just one of those ones that I feel like everybody should be using. He's just amazing. And then the Curry slide, obviously, on a guy that's gonna be like 6'10" and cheesing it up, is absolutely amazing. He's just a beautiful card. Still plays great defense and is an insane finisher, rebounder, defender, everything about that. Just Love Thurl Bailey. Love Thurl Bailey. This entire Flash set, Flash 5 was a W, and same thing with the, what was the other Flash 6 that just came out. Amazing. Next up is Amethyst Pascal Siakam, a card that is just so good at doing everything, kind of like Thurl Bailey, that you kind of have to throw him up there in the A tier. Plus, the jumper is one of my favorites. Jump shot 75, it's smooth, it's consistent, it's nice. I just love this Pascal Siakam card. Next up is Pink Diamond Maurice Lucas, who I'm throwing into the A tier because he's basically just like a better Diamond Draymond Green, which you gotta love. And if you're a Draymond Green, guy from the beginning of the year, you're gonna like this Maurice Lucas. He's just a better defender, slightly worse shooter for being honest, but a better finisher, better post guy, just better everything other than shooting than Draymond Green, which is great. Next up is going to be Pink Diamond Josh Smith, a card that I think is still standing strong up there in that like top tier spot. Just plays good defense all around. The Brook Lopez base is just great. Josh Smith in general is just amazing. Next up is a card that surprised me about how good he was. Pink Diamond George McGinnis. McGinnis, I feel like it's just one of those weird cards to have as like a top tier card, but I mean, if you go and look at the badges on this George McGinnis card, it is crazy. Like, almost all of his badges are Hall of Fame in finishing, which is unreal. And then on top of that, he has amazing post game, a 95 standing, 90 driving dunk, which is crazy. He has amazing speed, has quick first step and downhill. He has really solid defense all around, even on the perimeter because he comes with clamps. Has a pretty solid jump shot and jump shot 36, which is the Walt Frazier or Chandler Parsons jump shot, which is pretty solid. And all around, this McGinnis is kind of disgusting. I don't think you should lock in for him, but for those that did, you're probably having a great time. Next up is Pink Diamond Dan Issel, who is basically just a Diamond Kevin Love juiced up. It's really the only way that I can explain this Dan Issel. And I've seen Issel get a lot of hate that he really shouldn't, because you got a guy who has some solid Hall of Fame badges, including like post spin, has gold difficult shots, a deep three, sniper, volume shooter, has Hall of Fame intimidator and gold clamps, Hall of Fame rebound chaser, has some amazing stats, has the Kevin Love jump shot, which I think is actually one of the smoothest jumpers like in the game, if we're being honest, and then has some crazy dunking animations with a pretty cheesy behind the back in normal 3, and also the Kevin Love jumper is on the quick timing. I think Dan Issel's great. I still don't think you should go and get him off the exchange because there's going to be some better cards, probably in Season 5 and maybe even Season 6, that include a few pink diamonds that you're probably better off using there. But overall, Issel is still a great card. And last but not least, in the A tier, we do have Byron Beck, who is a card I think you get off the Triple Threat Offline Vault, or you used to be able to get off the Triple Threat Offline Vault until it changed to Terry, Big Terry. But I do think Byron Beck is still amazing. He still has some great Hall of Fame badges. He's a really solid defender. He's a great playmaker. He can shoot the 3-ball great. Solid finisher. Has jump shot 40, which again is a beautiful jumper. Along with the layup package, the athletic 2 leaners, some amazing dunking, and just is a guy that all around is just beautiful. Like, you really just can't go wrong with running back on your team, if we're being honest. And last but not least, we're starting off the A tier, which is going to have a lot of the opals at the power forward position. First off is Antoine Jamison. I really don't have to explain it. If you finish heat check domination, you know Jamison is an animal. Next up is Diamond Andre Karolinko. I'm still probably holding a little bit of bias on AK, but man, oh man, is he nice. Oh, is he nice. If you had a 3-point shoot onto AK, which I did, he just becomes an animal. You get above that 93-point rating. You could even add like deep threes if you wanted to. But Hall of Fame clamps, Intimidator, and all the rest of the gold badges he has are beautiful. Has quick first step, which I absolutely love, as well as floor general and Hall of Fame bullet passer. And he's still an amazing shooter because he has jump shot 98, which is beautiful. The long at the layup package. I just love AK, and I think there's so many great things that he does that it's very warranting to have him on your team, no matter what. Next up, Opal LeBron James. I mean, do I have to explain? The most badges, I'm pretty sure, like, in the entire game Hall of Fame. He might even have the most badges, like, in general, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm pretty sure the most Hall of Fame badges, at least, as well as, like, the most badges. And he's also up there in total stats. I think number 1 is Ben Simmons, 2 is Magic, 3 is Weber, and I think LeBron comes in at 4, which is beautiful. There's only 5 cards above 3,000 total stats, and LeBron is one of those 5, which is amazing. Has an amazing jumper, which has a massive green window. And the only bad thing I can say about LeBron is the layup package. But they were smart, and they didn't give that layup package to LeBron. He actually has long athlete, so there pretty much is nothing wrong with this card. LeBron is insane. Next up is Pink Diamond Larry Bird. I mean, Larry Legend is amazing. I think as a power forward, he just kind of can come in and do whatever you want. That Larry Bird jumper is still one of my favorites. It is super smooth. It is super clean. And how can I say no to a card that has Hall of Fame blinders, catch and shoot, circus threes, deadeye, deep threes, difficult shots, sniper, and stop and pop. Also has quick first step, gold clamps, and gold intimidator, and just amazing stats. Like, this Larry Bird card is stupid cheap for how good he actually plays. Larry is amazing, and I do understand on current he's a little bit worse because blinders is actually sniper. But if you've played on next gen, you know that blinders is basically one of the most overpowered badges in the game, and Larry having that on Hall of Fame makes him nearly unguardable sometimes. Next up, obviously, Galaxy Opal Chris Webber, another one of those insane badges, insane total stats cards that just, like, cannot be stopped. Like, cannot be stopped. He has another beautiful jumper. He's just a great overall card that I feel like a lot of people just should sit back and appreciate just how amazing he is. Does need a few badges added up onto him, but I think even with that, with how amazing his stats are, and his new Kemba Walker release, I mean, he's just beautiful, man. He is beautiful. Next up is going to be Glitched Carmelo Anthony, a card that didn't get as much hype as I thought he was going to when he dropped, but Melo, I mean, come on. Come on, he's still amazing. I know people don't like the steady, but again, blinders is amazing, and then it's a guy with Hall of Fame clamps, interceptor, off-ball pest, pick dodger, heart crusher, quick first step, difficult shots, and deadeye. 97 perimeter and 84 interior. He can dunk on everybody. He has amazing speed. He has amazing jumper. The Melo jumper is actually godly this year, and has the long athlete layup package. Like, come on. Melo is still a beast, even if you were slightly disappointed with how his badges and stats came out at. He still has 19 of them Hall of Fame, still has amazing animations and amazing stats. Like, this Melo is still a beast. And last but not least is Blake Griffin. Blake is still a demon. He is still amazing, and most people that use him, I mean, I really haven't found many problems with Blake. There are some, guys that I think have started playing the center position a little bit better than him, but if you have like a clamps, even like just the clamps and an intimidator on your Blake Griffin, he is still an easy S tier power forward, at least in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about the list down in the comment section below. I know there's some cards that kind of are about position-wise and stuff like that, and the current and next-gen differences of some of these cards is a little bit tough to gauge, so I am trying my best to marry the two together. There's not going to be one list that's perfect with current-gen and next-gen mixed together. It's just impossible, so I hope that I can find like at least a middle ground that some of you guys can at least understand. Subscribe if you guys are new. We are on the road to 10K subscribers. Don't forget to comment down below your favorite power forward and check out the PG shooting guard and small forwards tier list if you guys haven't already. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see y'all in the next video.